you find maybe a roofer that will do it for a lower price, or maybe they'll take a time payment plan for you to do it. But we can't put a new roof on your house. I had a person that called me 8 times. And what they wanted was for us to put a roof on their house. And I tried to explain to the person that we don't do that, but we'll try to work with them. Well, they sort of hung up, and but that's a very, very difficult thing, folks. At the same time, I have people leaving messages that ask they want to know how to make out a check to helping seniors, and they want to know how to make it out and the post office box address to send the check to. And they didn't say they want to help. They understand that situations change, and the dynamics in Brevard County are changing tremendously. And you're hearing a little bit about how we're trying to rejuvenate some of our assisted living facilities and how we're trying to improve our elements of care and trying to stay update with the community so that people get the kind of help and care that they need as they try to age with dignity. And that's exactly what helping seniors is all about. And that's how we differ from 211. We try to follow up and make sure you get the help that you need. A lot of times I will call 6 or 7 months later, I'll call some of the older ladies and I'll ask them, did your help come through from the Veterans Aid and Attendance Program? And surprisingly, I have ladies that tell me that they've added $800 to $1,200 a month to their income simply because they followed up on what we recommended. And that's why it's so important. But let's get back to Greenwood Place a little bit, because there are some other things that happen. And I talk about cookies, but I did try the cookie during the break, folks, and it's a great cookie. And Christine brought another one in to me, and I guess that's a bribe. I'll eat that in the car on the way home. But the ability to develop a menu that is attractive to people, especially when somebody is old and they really don't have a lot to look forward to, except good food, good companionship. And I remember when I had the Navy retirement home or in Gulfport, Mississippi, I had a section in there was for the handicapped people to eat in. And when I took command of the thing, I said, this is ridiculous. Why don't we all eat together? Why are we separating people? So I changed all that. And I had a lot of people, they did weird things. I had one guy that used to like to take pieces of pie, put them in his pocket, take them back to his room, and put them under the mattress on his bed. Now, that's exactly what he did. And so I would go peep through the window into the dining hall, and he'd see me looking through there, and he would leave the pie. So it got to be a game. If I could catch him trying to take the pie, he would leave it. And if I wasn't there, he sure as heck would get it and hide it someplace in his room. But these are experiences that people that manage assisted living facilities, you come across people that have little quirks. They have things they like to do. They things they have. It's something to look forward to. And that's why it's so important to Cynthia and Christine that the staff at an assisted living facility or a nursing home is able to identify with the residents. And I know we make a lot about touch and putting an arm around somebody and people misjudging it and saying it was something other than what it was. But I choose to look the other way in the assisted living industry because the I'd say most of the time, the resident in care feels very happy if one of the staff comes up and just puts a hand on their shoulder and says, "How's it going today?" Or, "Did you like the food?" Or, "Is there something you could tell me that I could tell our director about how we might make something just a little bit nicer for you?" It adds an element of or a touch of personal care. So, there are some. What are some of the other things that are really happening over at Greenwood Place that are changes within the community itself, interior changes?
Well, we have a lot of changes going on in terms of the physical space. We've done a lot of remodeling and updating of the apartments and things like that. But I think the biggest change, and that really helps change people's lives when they move in, is that personal touch. So everything that we do is all about our resident. We have a very resident-focused philosophy right now. And, for example, we'll talk about the food. Food is very important. And
it is. Food is extremely
it's really important. And Randy is our chef, and he's wonderful.
Amazing.
And he's amazing. And every week they have a chef talk. So any residents that want to meet with him in a group, they go over the menu, what he served, what they like, what they didn't like, what they'd like to see on the menu. So he really tries to personalize that, which is, I think, amazing. So that happens regularly. With our activities, we have an amazing activity director, and she used to be a CNA at our community, and then she went into the activities, and now she's the activity director. So she's got a very good understanding of all of our residents and their needs and capacities and things like that. But she knows our residents very well personally. So our activities are all built around what our residents want. For example, we had about several residents that had kept on saying, LA Fitness is right around the block from us, literally. So now she takes about 3 or 4 or 5 of our residents to LA Fitness. Some of them go swimming. We have another staff member that goes with them. Some of them, does a little weights or whatever. We have a gentleman that used to jump out of planes. So we're going up to Titusville to watch. They have the parachuting lessons and jumps. So she's taken a group up to watch. So those are the kinds of things I think that you were speaking of that I can say those are the exciting things. It's exciting that we changed the wall color. Yes, that's very exciting. But it's even more exciting when you go into a building and people are generally happy, they feel cared for, and they feel like their voice matters. So
that makes all the difference in the world, Cynthia and Christine. I understand that. What, in your opinion, sets Greenwood Place apart from some of the other places in the community? And before you even answer that, let me just say that I try to do my very best to keep informed about several things in the assisted living industry. One, who is in place in terms of leadership at 6 or 7 of the assisted living facilities in Brevard County, because I think there are assisted living facilities and there are assisted living facilities. And if it's just as easy to have good assisted living facilities, then we should talk about that. And we should talk about why it's important for those that want to be in the assisted living facility business to do a good job. In the years that I have been in Brevard County and trying to build and advocate for seniors, the toughest network to break into have been the doctor network. The medical network, for some reason, seems to think that nonprofits are after all of their money. They're not. Nonprofits are not after all of their money. What nonprofits want from our community care leaders is an understanding that we're all in this business together. And one way that we could do a better job of keeping people out of the emergency rooms at our hospitals is to make access to our assisted living facilities a little easier. And the hospitals, in terms of advocacy, could advocate to our governor for small sums of money. I know there's a big change coming in Medicare right now, and I'm trying to find out more about it. And this change to Medicare will have to do with organizations like Health First that will get several $1 million to provide new types of care. And I'm not going to go off on a limb this morning and say what I think is going to happen, because I still am looking into it. But once I find out what I really think is happening and I can prove it, then I will discuss it on this radio show with our listeners, because I think it's extremely important that our listeners get a fair shake and a fair understanding of what is really happening in the care industry. What is the capacity at Greenwood Place? How many people can you take care of?
So we have a license for 80 residents. We have 72 accommodations, and with that, that's one of the formula pieces. You asked what's different. I think that the size of the community is just the right size. I've had the luxury and privilege of working in many different arenas, some very large resort style that offer CCRC independent, and very small publicly owned assisted livings.
Right.
This one, because of the size, you have enough diversity and people living within that our residents are going to find some kinships and good commonalities with one another, helping that social side of them. But it's not so big that our team, those that serve them, don't know who they are. They get lost in the shuffle. So the intimacy, the medium size of our actual four walls, if you will, makes one of those facets of what makes us different better, in my opinion.
All right. No, I know you have a right to say exactly what you think, and you should talk about, and you should. If you can't be positive about your facility, then you're in trouble.
Exactly.
So,
I think
you're not only in trouble about who you're going to get there, you're going to be in trouble for your bosses too.
Yeah. I think the other key element for us is, again, I'm going to use the word staple because I think it's a great way to describe. We've been here for a while. We have a cook that has been in our kitchen since it was birthed and has gone through many changes. But it's because she loves the residents so intently, and she gets along with her team, and she understands that, we just work there. It's our residents' home. And that is huge. That's huge. When you recognize that, you may be a host, it's really their home. As Christine said earlier, how dare us, be so presumptuous that we know what activities that every one of us that lives there wants to do.
Okay, but do you have a memory care unit?
We do not. We strictly are we are licensed assisted living. Christine and I like to say that we love to serve independent and assisted living, because we do have several widowers that live with us because they just do not want to maintain a home anymore. They may be a little lonely and they don't want to deal with who's going to fix the roof, and they need a social. And we really don't offer specific care services for them now. But in the future, the greatness that we offer is when she needs or when they need care, they know the family, as we like to call ourselves, the extended family, that's going to be offering that. So it takes that new kid on the block or that scary or that, who's going to be giving me a shower today away, because they've had the opportunity to make us part of their life.
Well, let's talk about your license just for a minute. What, in terms of care, what can Greenwood Place do in terms of hands-on, what type of medical care per se, or do you have people that come in and provide skilled nursing care to some of the residents?
That's a great question. So we offer a standard licensed assisted living. That standard license allows us to offer medication management, where we are actually bringing the medications to our resident. We can do hands-on care, offering help with activities of daily living like showering, bathing, getting dressed, grooming.
You can do all that. You can help people with showers.
We sure can. We can also help someone who may, let's say, have COPD and has the need to use oxygen 24/7, but sometimes might get a little confused or just needs some help facilitating where to get that from or how to, turn the knobs we can help with that. We can help someone who may have insulin dependent diabetes. We can help them with their insulins. We can help with people who might have a catheter. So there are several things that we can help with in that as far as that's concerned. And we also have nurses that are on team.
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, do you have a nurse on? You're broken down into 3 shifts a day, right?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a nurse on each shift?
We do.
What did I hear you say? You mentioned diabetics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What type of care do you provide for diabetics in terms of getting the people that are diabetic, getting the right kind of exercise so that they are using their limbs so that the diabetes does not settle? Because one of the things that we have a problem with, mostly with people in assisted living facilities, are diabetics and having feet problems.
Right. Well, we provide chair activities, Monday through Friday, chair exercises. So people at all different levels of movement can participate in those. So Monday through Friday, we have regular exercise. We also have the opportunity. One thing I want to hit on too is that when you're in an assisted living, there's more of a coordination of care. Mm-hmm. So there's more eyes on you. If someone should need some additional home health, we work with any home health agency that can come in and provide occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, and we can coordinate all of that care. The other nice thing is that because we work with clinical people that are really specialized with our seniors, a lot of our staff can notice things that if you were home alone, maybe someone wouldn't take notice. So there might be a sooner intervention, mm-hmm. so things can be put in place. So for example, someone might be walking down the hall and Mary looks like she's dragging her foot. Something's going on with that. So maybe we'll talk to Mary. The nurse will go and talk to Mary, and she'll start talking about some things that she's been experiencing. And, we can intervene and say, what about some home health? Getting some home health, some extra therapy in there. So those kinds of things are so essential. And I think those are things that a lot of families and seniors aren't thinking of because they don't understand that it's not going to a facility and your independence is going to be taken away and all this stuff. What I see is that you're going to have better medical services or proactive medical services, people that are looking out for you and noticing these things so we can intervene quicker so problems don't get out of hand. And also, you get your independence back. People are so afraid, because that's what I do. I talk to families all day. And most of our seniors, they know what they know, but they don't know what they don't know. Right. And they know that when they got their home was their stamp of independence, freedom, but now their home has become their prison.
Okay, right. I'm going to interrupt. We're almost out of time, but I want to ask a question I've never asked on any radio show. Mm-hmm. Do you require your residents that are extremely frail, do you require that they wear any type of an alert system around their neck so that, or is that something you provide, or is that something that's up to the resident?
It's something that we provide for them as an extra added layer. It's not something that they pay for separately. It's layered into what we offer. Mm-hmm. And I think the best thing to do to kind of describe our community is to wrap it up by saying we are an enhancement to the lifestyle, not an infringement. And all those services and things that we layer in is going to actually enhance their life and keep them thriving rather than existing. I think that's the best way to put it.
We're just about out of time, but when I have another show with Jennifer, I'd like to bring you on for about a 15-minute segment and talk about some of these enhancements and some of the ways that you're doing things. So think about that for the future. And
you just want more cookies.
Okay. All right. But I want to thank you, Cynthia and Christine, and you, Jennifer, for what you have contributed to the show today.
Well, thank you for having us.
I hope I've let you all talk enough and not try to monopolize the time today, but I'm only kidding.
You did fine.
The cookies were good. I will see you again on a show. If you have a different type of cookie the next time, I would like to try a different one.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay, all right.
We'll keep them coming.
No, thank you all for being on the show. And if you can't have fun doing what you do, there's no reason to do it. So I have fun. I hope you all do. Thank you for being with us, and thank you, listener, for listening. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.